Hey, good evening, everybody. Now, this is now take 4, I think, or if you include John's live to all of his mates that he was doing, this is 5. Big issues with IT tonight, so apologies for that. But this is our plan B. We are now back together, so welcome, John.
Evening.
And you'll have recognised John from our Saturday evening sessions where John's been our nutrition expert, covering some nutrition topics for us. But John's also a triathlon coach, hence the t-shirt. And we're going to be talking tonight about cross-training. Now, as a triathlete, that's what they do. They're almost continuously cross-training between running, swimming, cycling, strength and conditioning. They train, obviously, a lot of different ways. And we thought best tonight is to speak to a triathlon coach and find out how best to cross-train for runners, what to do, what not to do, what's good, what's not, all the rest of it. So, John, just explain a little bit about what cross-training is, because a lot of people will have heard the term cross-training, but either don't know enough about it to do any of it, or are scared by doing that extra bit of training, and whether they don't know what it is. So, what in essence, what is cross-training?
Cross-training is not necessarily fatiguing you in one specific discipline. So triathletes joke, why be poor at one discipline of just running where you could be poor at 3? So we try and do all the differences. So it's just to find a way to keep you ticking over, to challenge the body in different ways. And like if you've got a gentleman that goes down the gym and he goes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, he does arms on a Monday. Was it International Chest Day Monday, isn't it? So everyone does chest and back, and then they do biceps and triceps on a Wednesday, and then they do legs on a Friday. Well, half of them don't, and they just go out down the pub instead. But it's to show you that even people that we have the opinion of when we look at them that they're addicted to the gym, even they cross-train to a degree where they stagger through and they don't fatigue the same muscle every day. So they don't go to the gym and do chest, back, arms and legs every day. So when you're running, you're doing the same muscles and the same movements every day. If you vary it to run, walk, hill reps, fartlek and other stuff, there are variations to work the heart. Not really cross-training, they're just variations on the same theme because you're still using your leg muscles. Yeah. So it's finding that variation that works for you.
Yeah. So as a runner, obviously runners they've chosen to be a runner. They've not chosen to be a triathlete because, or for whatever reason, it may be time, or they don't like riding a bike, or they can't swim, or whatever it is. But they've chosen to be a runner. Now, what would you advise a runner to try and break that up? Because obviously, if they're just running all the time, then they're doing exactly what you've just said. They are fatiguing their same muscles over and over again. So, what would you advise them to have a go at and try?
First things first is like Gaz and Alan that were on last week. Fantastic banter, two great mates having a great video. But like whatever works for Alan doesn't work for us. Yeah. If you're a seasoned runner and you've then decided to do a triathlon and stuff, then that's fantastic. If you can run, I coach a guy, he's 61, he's amazing, and he does 80-mile ultras. I can't imagine going a step further than 26.2 myself. That's my limit, standalone or at the end of an Ironman. But he loves that, and he will happily run 100 miles a week. Some people can do that. So other people in the group that are not of that same shape and build, the Mo Farah-esque individual, the Paula Radcliffe and stuff, if you're a little bit heavier, that is going to eat into your legs and your muscles, and you may find that you then get lower limb injuries. So triathlon is fantastic in that regard, and a lot of people move into it if they get injuries. Yeah. Because you can still go swimming. If you swim, it's classed as a rest day, irrespective of however good you are. It's still not weight bearing because your body is suspended in the water. Yeah. If you've got lower leg injuries, then you can walk, run in the pool. You can get weights that go around your waist, stay in the deep end, and then run in deep water. And it's not weight bearing. you might even see professional footballers are on a treadmill like machine, but have got a bag of water that they zip themselves into with like a canoe kind of attachment around their waist, and they'll run on the treadmill, but in the water bag, so they're not putting that pressure on those muscles so much. So you allow the muscles to develop and grow, or rest as you need to as you go along. Other benefits from swimming is your breathing. It significantly gets you to control your breathing with whether you do breathe every other stroke, every 3 strokes, and you do bilateral, or whether you do every 4. Primarily for an Ironman, you would do every 2 because you need the oxygen. But it gets you to breathe in when your face is out the water, ideally.
It's useful.
Doesn't always work, promise you.
No, I've been there and I've taken half of Pennington Flash in my face.
And then blow out in the water. And some of the problem is some people don't blow out. They try and exhale and inhale at the same time when they should be taking it in when the face is out and blowing out when the face is in the water. So you get them to blow bubbles. That has a significant impact on your running breathing capacity. So not only are you resting, you can have floats, you can have paddles, you can have paddles on your hands, flippers on your feet. They all challenges you in different ways. So the paddles make you work harder and give you upper body strength. So you're training above and beyond what you need to do. So when you actually come to using your hands, you feel like you can just move them quicker and easier through the water. Flippers help you with your dorsal flexion of your ankle. So a lot of coaches coach against using too much flippers, but a lot of people have got an ankle like that normally. And when they swim, it's kind of like that. It's still like an anchor if it's upside down, So the flippers help you to try and get to a flatter level as possible. So it helps the dorsal flexion of the ankle, which is all good for range of motion and strength for runners doing a rougher event, especially with hills like in Bolton and stuff. So there's lots of those benefits from swimming. Cycling is again something that I always give all of my athletes on Monday a 1 hour recovery bike ride. And it's just purely and simply conversational, sit on the bike for an hour, pedal and flush all of the toxins out of the muscles. So the legs and the quads being the largest muscle group in the body, all of the toxins that are built up in there over the weekend long run are all sat there. And the best thing you can do, even after a race, as counterintuitive as people think it is, you sit there on the bike spin, and it flushes fresh oxygenated blood into those muscles and gets rid of the toxins. And after a marathon, no one likes stairs for 3 or 4 days. You know what I mean? It's just evil. It's just one of those things. We're like that. No, it's upstairs. I'm leaving it. You can stay there till Wednesday. I'll shuffle up.
Sleep. You move the bed downstairs before the marathon is the advice I give.
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. So it's finding what works for you. I've got a bike on an indoor trainer, so it's easy for me to say that. Other people, depending on the weather, if you've got a bike, you can go out and ride. I wouldn't take a mountain bike up over a dirt hill track up a hill, because that's not the idea of the recovery flush, So it has to be a nice relax. But Bolton's got some great roads. Just cycle out and back again. I'd be guessing if I could tell you the names of the places to head towards, but the Ironman marathon route that goes out past the boys' school, is it? And
Chorley New Road.
That's the one.
Chorley New Road. It is a gradual climb, but it's about as flat as you'll get. And if you're on a bike, you can have a nice easy spin along there. You could just switch and back. If you're in the town centre, find somewhere flattish.
So just find somewhere just to flush that out of your legs. So it's not necessarily that you're training for a triathlon by doing it. And everybody up and down the country, I coach a lady that's 7 miles from John O'Groats, a gentleman in Carlisle, people all over the south, and no two people have got the same access to a swimming pool, access to gym machinery for cross training or for strength and core work, however you want to call it. So it's just finding a system that works for you. If you've got a bike in the garage, pump the tyres up and have a ride out with the kids if you're in lockdown.
That's it. Something nice. It's just something nice and easy, isn't it? So
fit it in with the family. So
yeah. So you spoke. So really, at the minute, we're speaking quite a lot about cross training as a way of recovery.
yeah,
Still doing something, but it's away from the impact of running. I trained a lady last year, I think it was one now. Yeah, she had an injury to her ankle and just couldn't run. Every time she went running, really struggled. And she was desperate to run her second Edinburgh Marathon. And I trained her solely through cycling and swimming. She didn't do any running until about 4 weeks out from her marathon. So her whole marathon training had been about on the bike. And it was about working at the same effort levels all the time and just increasing those effort levels and time exercising and stuff like that. And it worked. She ended up with a very good time, which was very close to her previous best at the Edinburgh Marathon, even though she wasn't physically in the best shape in terms of being injured. So I think it shows that it is beneficial to runners that you can still train even though you don't force go down that running route, if you know what I mean. So if you wanted to leave running for one side for a little bit, if you wanted a break from running, how can people best make the most of cross training to improve their fitness?
The boot camps are fantastic. So they're having a bit of a surge at the minute because it's outdoors. You can space out whether you wear a mask and stuff. And if you're doing rolling the tractor tire and you're doing the battle ropes and you're carrying jerry cans and stuff, a lot of these things have got a military theme and things. So a lot of those are beneficial. I'm a member of David Lloyd, and they've got sessions down here. They're half staffed. Sorry, they're fully staffed, but they're half the amount of members in each class. Or they've got stuff spread out across the tennis court. So you can do your own circuit training and find something different. Boxercise is another one. I mean, if you've ever done boxercise for one session, you'll appreciate a professional boxer going 12 rounds at 3 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am on my backside after 3 rounds. I can't breathe. It's just absolutely amazing what they do. So skipping, do you know what I mean? Look at them boys when they skip and stuff like that. There's a whole world of stuff. You can go to Decathlon and get a skipping rope for less than a £5, you know. So it hasn't got to be walking. Again, for fat burn is get out and do a nice 2 hour walk.
Yeah.
And if initially if you've not done much or you've got an injury, then you can use it to build up. People that I've coached have said, "Oh, I don't want to do running. I just want to walk, and I walk around the village." Well, walk around it twice. Well, I've lost weight, and now I'm not losing weight anymore. Well, you've got to change it up. You've got to go 3 or 4 times, or that hill you've got to get to the top, walk back down again, and walk back up. You know, so you have to challenge the body in different ways. There's so many different ways of doing it. We've got all of our outdoor equipment that are in the council parks are all taped off at the minute for COVID. But there's a lot of kind of chin up stuff and sit up stuff and dips and things and variations that you can do a whole multitude of exercises. Or people are just taking kettlebells and stuff into the park and doing shuttle runs around, dropping like a jump of a goalpost kind of thing. You can challenge yourself in any way. There's Google it. There's so much stuff out there. If you Googled a boot camp session for 40 minutes, you'll get something on Facebook now.
Oh yeah, YouTube, there'll be loads of stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so you can do all of those different variations. And I think one thing I picked up from Alan last week was he's like, I don't want to do strength training because I'll get big and bulky.
Yeah,
it's a misconception. I'm lucky because my muscles develop very quickly. I'm a mesomorph, so when I'm toned up, my muscles do kind of go big really quick, and I can understand to a degree he'd be hesitant. But my strength for triathlon and my injury reduction, I put down to a strength and core plan, and it's working out your 1 rep max. So what you can lift is a maximum for 1, and then you work down to a percentage of that, 63, 67, whichever one works for you. You know, and then start doing stuff at that. And it's all about doing 15 reps instead of 8. So if you wanted to get bulk, you do 8 reps of a car. You know, you try and lift the car up 8 times, or you get 2-litre bottles of Pepsi Max, and you do dumbbell curls with them, but do 15 instead, and you'll get definition and tone and strength as opposed to bulk and size. So
I've always been the same. I've always been in the gym, low weight, but high repetition. I probably don't. I think the heaviest thing I lift in a gym is probably a 10-kilo medicine ball, and that's in both arms. But I'll do 30 repetitions of that, or whatever it is that I'm doing. But I only start feeling that burn at 25 repetitions, because I want to be able to go for a long period of time before I fatigue. And I don't need to be lifting cars, or I don't need to be lifting kilos or anything like that, because that's just not what I need to do. And I get massive, so I just want to be able to keep my body in really good shape, so basically it can handle whatever I throw at it. So I know I'll just do low weight, really high repetitions, and I might do 3 or 5 sets of 30 repetitions at a time.
Absolutely.
That's the angle I would go down if you don't want to get big. I've never been big, you know, and that's
plyometrics. Plyometrics are a revelation. They're coming in. Biomechanics is something else, and you should do biomechanics before plyometrics. But to give you an example, like in the gym, I go in and I get the barbell all the way across my shoulders. I'd have 5 kilos on each end, and everyone's looking at you as if to say, "Is that it, mate?"
What's that going to do?
But I squat and then I spring up, you know, and then try and get 6 to 8 inches off the floor by springing up with this bar. And everyone's like, "Whoa, hang on a minute, that's new." Where everybody else is trying to, you know what I mean? They're trying to go to the toilet 1 minute, and then they've got like 25 kilos on each side, and they're struggling and all over the show. And they're like, "Well, no, this is dynamic, you know," and this is. So it's count. Even during a run session, today I had 3 times 30 calf raises, you know, and then you'll have sprints and stuff, you know, 5 times 80-meter sprints at the end of a run on 3 minutes, you know. You can have the Ministry of Funny Walks where you start doing strides and you do fast steps.
I'm always doing Ministry of Funny Walks with my runners.
You've got to.
What on earth are this lot doing?
You know, and I often go out in the dark, because you do get some funny looks. But all the comments I get back are like that. Yeah, that was interesting. You know what I mean? That was quite funny because it was school chuck out time and all the kids are in the park and they're doing this lunatic stuff along the side. So you have to, by default, I think too many people do a couch to 5K or a couch to 10 and stuff and just do the run walk, but they're not doing the plyometrics on top. You know, and whether you class that as cross training or not, I think it's up to you if you class it as that. I strength and core. You need to put drills into your running for whether you want to call it cross training or strength building or avoiding boredom. You know what I mean? You can bracket it however you feel. So I think there's obviously you've probably come across some runners who are like, no, I only want to run. I don't want to do anything else. If I'm doing something else, I'm wasting my time. I'm not training on the running. You know, there's no point me cycling because it's not beneficial to me running. All the rest of it. I think you probably come across. I know I have in the past. You know, I think it's good with the research, with the amount of triathlon that's going on. That kind of view is changing quite a lot, I think, because those runners are starting to try maybe a little bit of triathlon as they get a bit bored with their own running or whatever. I think it's good. You can do duathlon, so you run, you bike, you run. So if you're a runner and you're not very good at swimming, you avoid that. And then there's aquathon, which is the swim and the bike, but not the run. So it's become an inclusive variety sport that you can dip in and out of at whatever is your strength or your weakness. You know, you can cut out what you don't fancy. So it's been great. And then there's the Great Britain vest on top of it, that if you do a race and you qualify within 10% of the person of your age group finishing, you can go off and represent your country, which again, it's not it's not the Olympics, but it's very inclusive, exciting. it is inclusive, but
Makes
it's
it more
also
inclusive, I should say. Yeah.
some people that you would never know a sporty in their age group can then qualify and wear the GB vest and go to the European and the World Championships at duathlon, aquathon, and triathlon without having to be a professional, you know. So there's lots there. So you can find and choose a sport that fits your bill. And if you're an excellent runner, then the duathlon is fantastic. So and again, I think a lot of people discover triathlon when they do one sport and they get injuries, and then they have to rest that sport and find another way to keep themselves fit, because we all like to eat. So we all have to find a way to burn the calories off.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we find something else that we submerge yourself in to tick that box and keep active. And we often discover something else. So
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, where you talk about getting injured, because running is a high impact sport, as we know. Obviously not high impact in terms of rugby is another high impact, but high impact on certain parts of the body. So where you're running, and if you're someone who runs heel toe, for example, that impact is really going to affect your knees and your hips. If you're someone who runs on the front of your feet, I tend to run a lot more on the front of my feet. I get more maybe issues, calf issues, but I don't get any knee problems, and I generally don't get many hip problems. But I think the cross training bit, the cycling and the swimming bit, the reduction in that impact is really important for runners, so that they can still keep training, they can still keep active. And I suppose for my recommendation would be, don't wait to get injured to start training, to start swimming, to start cycling, because otherwise you don't get the benefit of it, because you can still do that recovery, and you still get, like you say, with swimming, the breathing, the improvements for your breathing, for your running. But try it, give it a go, because of the benefits that you get from just stopping that impact for once a week or twice a week, rather than just hitting the miles and hitting the pavements and getting the miles in.
I would definitely recommend swimming, and the bike for the recovery hour. You know, people are saying to me, I wanted a night off this week, and well, which one do you want off? You know, because they're all beneficial to you, so it all depends which one you want. But definitely, people have said to me, I've just done a full Ironman, and the next day you're telling me to do an hour on the bike. And so I tell you now, you don't want to get on it, because you know it's going to be a little bit sore. But you tell me how you feel afterwards, and they're like, wow, the endorphin release is there. So they're like, my legs feel so much better. It's just like, you've got to get rid of all of that all those toxins out, you know. So it's a good one. And if you do your long runs every Sunday and you're building it up, then it's a nice way just to tick over. And it can be a mountain bike with the kids. It hasn't got to be, 2 hours at 20 mile an hour, head down, you know, and
that's not the purpose of it, is it? The purpose of it is to give you that easy session, you know, get you sweating a little bit, get that heart rate up a little bit, nothing strenuous at all.
But fit it in with the family as well. All these sacrifices we do, we dedicate ourselves to these events, and we'll say, right, Bolton Marathon's in May. That's a good 6 months away, you know, and you get buy-in and purchase from the family, and say, look, I'm going to make a few sacrifices. Sunday mornings are not going to be a lie-in. I'm sorry if I'm going to bash around and all the rest of it. I need my breakfast. I need to get out. I need to do my run. I need to come back. I need to have my shower. All those sacrifices in the family. If you say, hey, on Monday, if you're not in school or it's half term and it's other stuff, then we'll go out for a family bike ride, and we'll stick the bikes on the car, and we'll go around a lake and something, and we'll have some time together. You then fit in your recovery ride. You fit in time with the family. Even if the missus stays at home and reads a book, you know, then it's finding that structure, you know, and that balance with everybody, and just say, well, this is part of the trade-off. And today we have some us time. So balance is a big part of it. So
it's good. A good way of looking at it, to try and get that recovery in and family time at the same time. It's killing two birds with one stone, isn't it? Definitely.
You've only got to stand at the finish line of any of these events and listen to the other half say, right, are you back in the family now? You mean, can we have a lie-in on Sunday now and stuff like that?
Is that you done now for a bit?
Yeah. Can it be my turn now, or the kids' turn, or something else? You know what I mean? So it's it's a big influence. We sometimes brush it under the carpet, you know, and people say to me, why do you do triathlon? It's my daughter's got cystic fibrosis, so I try to inspire her and show her that somebody without cystic fibrosis lungs doesn't get it easy, you know. But and then I justify that by fitness and training. I said, but really it's me, it's my selfish time. I'm being brutally selfish, and I sulk if I don't get my run in or my ride or my swim and stuff. And it's just, and I justify it by motivating other people, and especially my daughter, you know. But it's just, you have to find those balances in that family group. So
of course you do. Definitely.
It's whether it's mental health, whether it's your own space, you know. It's just, you have to embrace it and fit it all into it all. So
definitely.
Without getting too somber, but it's
you're linking back. I don't know if you saw Marcus and myself chat on Sunday evening. I
didn't know
quite a lot about goals, reasons why you do something, because it's dead important.
Massive.
It's that thing that keeps you going when it's cold and miserable and wet and dark. And you really don't want to go out at 6 o'clock in the morning and go running on a Sunday morning, but it's that thing that keeps you going, and it just shows that everybody has to have it, and it crosses all sports as well.
And I love smiling and thumbs up to other runners, you know. It's just, we all know we're all in it, and especially if you're out and it's cold and wet, like this evening I went out and did an hour, and you see other runners, you know everyone's training for a spring marathon, because who else would be silly enough to be out at this time of evening in the light drizzle and stuff, you know. But it's awesome in that regard. But it's tying it in. So I didn't see the video. I'll catch up on that one. So
have a little look. It got quite philosophical at one stage. It was really good though, and there's some bits that came out of it. But what it showed really is how deep running can be, and how meaningful it is for everybody. And when you get into it and you get stuck into it, it's just an amazing. It's almost hard to describe it's like any sport really, but how it can take over and give you so many benefits. It's just it's brilliant, isn't it, to be honest.
I share a picture when people post and they chat about it, and I say, I dare you to train for a marathon. It would change your life. You know, and it does. I'm not going to go into Ironman because this is not about Ironman, but that's I say to people then, I'm no superstar, but challenge yourself, because you'll be amazed at what your body can do. And I've done London 4 times, and each time was in a pink lady apple costume. So I dropped the picture in on my video last Saturday. But sub 4 in an apple costume. So that's my little claim to fame. So I'm proud of that.
Very good.
So but it's each time I would come up to another runner, and you can see that they're not having the best of miles. You know, there's a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of questioning as to why am I here, why am I doing this, when's the pain going to stop, kind of thing. And then on the back of their T-shirt, it says, I'm doing this for Dad, or I'm doing this for Mum, I'm doing this for Mark, I'm doing this for Uncle Tom. And I would say, I'd run past them and I'd say, think of Uncle Tom, you know, or think of Mum, think of Dad. And they're like, wow, thank you. And you're in an apple costume. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's like we're all suffering. We've all got our things, you know. And on a different, I think a London Marathon page, was on there, and they said, how do you break it down and how do you focus? And I just said, dedicate each mile to somebody. You know, so have that moment and that time where you think and you remember them, and when you get to the next mile you remember the next one. You know, it's just find different ways, because miles 20 to 26, they will be very emotional times and stuff. I've not run down Birdcage Walk in London without crying my eyes out. I've seen my daughter at the side of the road, you know, and she's like, hurry up, I want to go to Garfunkel's, you know what I mean? So she wants a Knickerbocker Glory as a dessert, you know. So I just okay, I'll sprint.
I'll just hurry up, shall I?
I've only done just 25 3/4 miles, but I'll just nip down the corner for you. So, bless her. But Bolton Ironman, she was like that. Can you hurry up? She's 40 minutes a lap. Can you hurry up? I'm getting cold. I'll do my best. So bless them. But so it's It is. I'll dip back into that. I've tried to watch
Yeah.
most of them. So yeah, it's just
No, it's good. Yeah.
it's interesting, different little bits and pieces. So
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's fantastic to do. I encourage anybody to build up. I've got friends doing couch to 5K and are sending me messages saying, "How do I do this? What would you advise on that?" And I just chuck them a message, and they're like, "Wow, okay, so don't see you at your half marathon soon." They're like, "You what?" I said, "I've only just done 5K." So it's a journey. You're coming. You know, it's just
it doesn't stop. I think, and that's a really good point. Actually, we'll just touch on it quickly. But for some people, marathon is a bucket list thing, isn't it? It's I want to tick this off. Obviously, I from a runner's perspective, I think everyone should just keep running. It shouldn't be I've done a marathon, tick. I'm going to throw my shit away. I mean, keep going. What's next? Because it could be the start of something really special. I think it's really important that people look at the end of the event and after the event, not just think like, done a marathon, that's it, I'm not doing anything else. Because like was just said, you will find something amazing about keeping going and just sticking with it, because you might not necessarily do another marathon, but if you stop running, you forget how amazing it is. And it's about keeping it going, I think. And it's really important that they think about what they're going to do after the event.
Massively so. Ironman is another one because it consumes your life a little bit. And the marathon is, I would say, as equally as overtaken of everything, and that you get to race day, you finish, and then it's like, well, what next? And the beauty of triathlon is that if you don't have any interest at all in doing the swim and the bike, then you can be in a relay team for a full Ironman and still run a marathon. I found it horrific because London Marathon starts at 9 o'clock. You get up in the hotel, you have your breakfast, you walk across the green, you go to the start line, and the gun goes bang, all the sleds go, and then off you go and you do your thing. An Ironman relay, you're waiting for someone. So you've seen someone finish the swim. Someone's gone on a 112-mile bike ride, and you're like, well, when's he coming back? The tracker says he's doing all right. Okay. So say 6 hours, and then he has 2 punctures, 7 hours. So your nutrition of making sure you're ready at the 6 hour point, and then he comes in at 7 hours 40. You stood around for an hour and 40 minutes, not really know when you're going to go. Massively so, you know. But you can still be included and still do different parts, you know. And the amount of people like that, wow, look at you run. So, mate, I'm relay. Oh, okay. I've not done everything that you've done. Yeah, you know.
I've been sleeping all morning. How lying.
It's exactly. I wasn't eating breakfast at 4 o'clock in the morning like you were. So it's just the variety, and it doesn't have to just well, I've done a marathon, that's it. You know, the 6 majors are there, and I'd love to do them. It's a bucket list thing. It'd be absolutely amazing. But even with triathlon, and I'm not here to sell triathlon to anybody, but you can be included in part of a team. You know, and you get a medal, you get a bag, you get a T-shirt, and everything else, and you get to run down the finish line together. It's really inclusive and something different out there. But like you say, I hate it when people say that's me done. I'm hanging my shoes up. Like, really? Okay. You know. So it's a shame. So just find something else.
Definitely explore the different options. But I think we'll wrap it up there, John. But we've
fantastic.
Sort of summarised where we're at, and it's a case of try something that's going to be a little bit more beneficial for you. Not just running. If you fancy getting your bike out, go for a bike ride, even if it's just for a recovery ride or a swim. Use that cross training as a really good tool to aid your recovery. But equally, you can do certain cross training things to improve your fitness as well. So thanks very much for your time, John.
You're welcome.
Really good chatting to you again. And for everyone else, try your cross training. Don't dismiss it. Give it a go. Another really good important thing that has been spoken about, but we'll reiterate it. Think about what you're going to do after the event. Don't just hang your trainers up with it. Find something else, whether it's another marathon, a half marathon, or even dipping your toe into triathlon. You won't regret it if you do dip your toe into triathlon. I've done a couple of Ironman and it was really good. So
Perfect.
give it a go. And yeah, and this video, ignore the live ones. This is the one you're watching. So hopefully next time we'll have some really good, we'll sort out our IT issues and we'll be live and you can ask questions and all the rest of it. If you have got any questions, stick them in the comments. John or I will
follow up. Yeah.
sort of pass them when we can. All right.
Fantastic.
Thanks so much, John, and we'll catch
Enjoy.
you soon.
We'll do. Take care.
Cheers.